approach requires us bringing on board all of the major stakeholders. You have virtually, I believe, everybody here except the political class. And I have asked for meetings separately with the political class. What we had today was not just a traditional social partnership, and we started it Friday last week. We had also the members of the Social Justice Committee, which is a wider religious groupings and social worker groupings and other groups that are part of that Social Justice Committee. We also invited specifically today in this meeting the media managers, because we believe that you have a role to play and you will help us tell us what you believe you can do. You heard for yourself that this was a case where people came to the table, and 80% of what you heard in every presentation was virtually the same thing. And that is the point that I made even when we were trying to save the dollar. When we were trying to save the dollar, we said, who in here wants to save the dollar that first day in government? 80% of what people put on the table was the same thing. And that is what made it possible for us to navigate the IMF program. Same thing happened with COVID. We want the same thing to happen now to help Barbados stabilize and for us to ensure that a handful of people do not take from us our way of life.
Prime Minister, if you could probably give us some of the most important decisions or things you think came out of this meeting today.
A lot of it was first and foremost working towards building consensus. And I think you heard a consensus on a number of interventions at the social level. The government would have had Reverend Joseph, who's working with the Ministry of People Empowerment, present a platform recognizing that regrettably a lot of today's generation needs support and that a lot of things that the older persons take for granted ought not to be taken for granted, like mental wellness. We had an opportunity also to have the National Council for Substance Abuse show the kinds of very deadly and dangerous substances, some of them looking like candy, some of them looking like liquids that you wouldn't even think of, some of them looking like normal pharmaceuticals that are clearly, when used together, not necessarily singularly, but when used together and with alcohol, are having a devastating impact on many of our citizens, and particularly our younger citizens. We were also able to have feedback on critical aspects of policy initiatives, the wireless intercept, the question of how do we ensure that there is some kind of mandatory framework where our kids can stay in school or post-secondary institutions, or some kind of apprenticeship or technical and vocational area, or of course the Barbados Youth Advance Corps. How do we look at whether should we be looking at mandatory participation of all children in forms 1 to 3 in some kind of community, some kind of discipline club? Is it Scouts? Is it Cubs? Guides? Brownies? Pathfinders? Anything? So, and as you can see from the feedback, people recognize that we need more structured social activity in order to be able to help us reclaim our communities. On top of that, the issue of parental coaching and life coaching absolutely becomes critical. So, I mean, those are just a few of the areas. We also agreed, most importantly, on the need for national cleanup. The government itself is leading the way, as you know, with the derelict vehicles and the derelict cars. And the Bush legislation, the Health Services Act, will come in shortly. We felt that even though the legislation was passed, we need time to give people a chance to understand that soon from now, if you don't clean up yourself, you're not only going to have to pay the fine, so you're not only going to have to pay back government what we spent. If you don't do it yourself, you will also have to pay a fine. And we have also recognized that if we can move those cars, move those buildings that are derelict, do the cleanup and have proper lighting, and also encourage more people to put security cameras or whatever on their properties, that together we will be able to reduce the opportunities for crime, which is the most important thing for us to do. Ironically, many years ago as Attorney General, when I did the Plan on Justice, Peace and Security, Chapter 7 was on reducing opportunities for crime. And that's what each citizen of each household has to begin to understand what their role is in terms of being able to play for that. Okay? Thank you.